The Blokebusters podcast is proud to be a member of the Pod Bros Network. You can find us as well as other fine shows such as The Guy Huddle, Language of Bromance, and Dave's Nerd Compendium at podbros.com and on Twitter at Podbros Network. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Blokebusters podcast.
Welcome to episode 47 of the Blokebusters podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be talking about the film CHAPPiE. But first, just getting some issues of business out of the way. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Blokebusters. Yes, on Facebook.com/Blokebusters. And Gmail, Brian, what is our Gmail account?
Gmail at Blokebusters. Yes, everything's at.
Blokebusters podcast.
Podcast.com. No S.
At gmail.com, yes.
We did not make it easy for you.
No, yes. We wanted something to be different.
It avoids those spam emails.
Yes. Alright, so CHAPPiE.
Yeah.
This one directed by Neill Blomkamp, and apologies if I'm getting that wrong. I don't know if I've ever...
I'm sure he'll be terribly offended when he listens to this.
Budget of $49 million, and a box office so far, this has been, 3 or 4 weeks since it came out?
Yeah, I think 3.
Of $59,754,000, and that one is worldwide. I think it's about half that domestic.
That seems low, for me.
I kind of understand the low there, because he's one of those directors that I think the DVD sales are the bigger draws.
But I thought this had a pretty heavy PR campaign and marketing.
No, very much. I saw a lot of trailers for it, and I didn't have regular cable television.
Yeah, much more so than its first 2 films. I think a lot more people were aware of this. That's why that number's just striking me as a little low. But
well, I understand both sides of it, but I do think that given that this is his 3rd film at this point, people know if they're going to like him or not, and they're
they'll just go see the Medea movie instead.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
The always popular Medea.
Yes. Medea's AI movie. Yeah, I'm sure it's coming.
Probably.
Yeah. Unfortunately. All right.
So, well, let's see then.
Cast.
The cast, we have as the main character CHAPPiE, Sharlto Copley.
Who's been in all 3 of Blomkamp's films now.
Yeah. And Dion Wilson is Deb Patel. And when I say it that way, I'm saying the character name first and then the actor.
As the actor Deb Patel.
Yeah. The character Dion Wilson playing Deb Patel. And then we get into the world of people that I'd never heard of before this film.
Hugh Jackman? Really?
I know. You had the character of Ninja being played by a man called Ninja. And the character of Yolandi being played by a woman called Yolandi. And obviously that chances are one person that listens to this will already know them from a band that, what was the name again?
The Antwerp
or something like that.
I don't know.
Not the sort of music we listen to.
I can't keep up with the kids' music these days, Paul.
So apologies for not being aware of that particular band. And then you've got the last 2 I got written down. Michelle Bradley being played by Sigourney Weaver in yet another sci-fi film to add to her extensive resume. And the character Vincent Moore being played by Hugh Jackman. And I couldn't tell listening to this film whether or not he was just using his regular accent or if he was attempting to do a South African accent. It
sounded like his accent just dialed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little more, I don't know, a little more stressed.
I think for most people, it's difficult to really tell the difference between English speaking with a South African accent and English speaking with an Australian accent. Unless you're from those areas.
Yeah. To my American ears, it sounds very similar.
Yeah, I think it'll be the same as, for a lot of people, English and Australian are very similar. Whereas if you're from England or from Australia, you know exactly what the difference is.
Yeah. Or Irish and Scottish, yeah, don't get them started on that. They have enough to fight about. You know?
I have to say, that's one I've not heard of.
Really? Well, I mean, not strong accents,
right.
But you hear people like doing an accent, like thinking they're doing an Irish accent that's really Scottish.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Talking about dumb people, not ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say that. Growing up in England, I can't say that was ever an issue.
All right. You might have the authority on that. So. All right. Let's get back to CHAPPiE.
Yeah, to CHAPPiE.
CHAPPiE
I
think it should be.
I had to write it down. It's Short Circuit meets Tank Girl.
Meets Tank Girl. Yeah, pretty much. It's smarter Short Circuit.
Yeah, a smaller Short Circuit and from the world of Tank Girl. I think
from the world of District 9.
Well, yes.
Really.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And can't really blame him. I mean, it very much has his signature style to it, like the grittiness.
Well, I'm sensing a theme, with his films now.
Just a slight theme.
Just a slight theme of, South African wasteland.
Yeah. I wonder where this guy is from.
With robots eventually taking over, some robots / aliens.
With something taking over, sort of. And this one, I wouldn't say that. I guess obviously spoilers, but this isn't exactly one. But I wouldn't say that the ending is the robots taking over. It's more
no.
Yeah, and I found this out a little while ago. This was actually written as a trilogy. So the idea being this being the first film in said trilogy.
Oh, I don't know about that. I should probably say Paul and I have not discussed our feelings on this film.
We have not.
So I think that makes it a little more interesting. But yeah, I'm good with one. I don't know.
Yeah, I perfectly understand the idea of wanting to explore the world more. I don't think that there's necessarily enough there, at least set up by this one, that would give you much for more films. Like
you said originally, I don't know if that's the intention anymore. Do you know?
I think it comes down to how well the film does. Obviously now DVD sales and stuff.
Well, I don't know where you go with the story from there.
Well, I think what they should have done with this, and like, obviously this is now kind of trying to condense everything together. I think that the best way that it should have worked is that the character of CHAPPiE, you see him go from basically like a baby to, let's say, teenager in about 5 minutes of screen time. And then he just kind of stops growing. Like, he's at that level now of childlike naivety mixed with the teenager, slight rebellious thing. I think that the AI should have kept growing at that point, like, going on and on, like, evolving more, rather than just kind of staying at the same point for the next half of the film.
Maybe we're talking about the same thing here, but I had an issue of what the things that he inherently seemed to know, and then also just very gullible on other aspects.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't you be able to detect deceit if you're conscious? Or manipulation, or,
Well, the general idea, I guess, being that these were his first time really experiencing those. So now he knows, but he didn't before.
I suppose I can buy that. But it seemed very arbitrary what he could just scan things and start to adapt the language, or, things like that, start to deduce other things from seeing one item or having one interaction. Because he would say, like, gangsters type lines. I don't know, maybe those were in the deleted scenes or something. But, like, learning words that are in that world, but hadn't previously been said, or they were just seemed very inconsistent to me.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things where the actual process of showing you him learning everything would have just taken up the rest of the film. There wouldn't be anything else. So obviously there's some artistic license in there, But yes, it did seem that they were trying to teach him the language, which he then apparently picked up like that, and then he was still learning after that, but he knew enough for basic sentences and for being able to draw a conclusion from things, and then he would just be like, oh, well, I don't know this, so can you teach me this? Or, well, I'll fall for this because I don't know anything about it.
It's better because the story demands it.
Yeah. And I was also thinking that this is real spoiler territory, obviously. At the end of the film...
Everything, yes.
Yeah, at the end of the film, the guy that created CHAPPiE moves from his human body into a robot body, like CHAPPIE's. And I think that the film should have come to terms with him becoming a robot, and then, I know it would have been a bit of a cop-out, but even over the closing credits, like the opening was the sort of talking heads documentary of, oh, well, maybe we weren't ready for CHAPPiE at that point, but it was a big leap forward, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I think the closing credits should have been that type thing again, talking about, is this the next step in human evolution, or like, now can we now live forever, being able to transfer our mind type thing, like, or even a conversation about what is consciousness. Like, that type of thing.
I guess we can work our way backwards since we're starting at the end here.
Yeah.
But I appreciated the ending. In a lot of ways, it saved the film for me from mediocrity to above.
Right.
But I did not like the direction it went. I much more like the aspect where it kind of looked like it was going, that consciousness is something that isn't definable, that is not can be learned or cannot be quantified.
Yeah.
And then CHAPPiE said, I solved it. I mean, I think that's much more interesting it's sadder, but I think it's more true that we are what we are, and you can't put that on a thumb drive.
And also, I was thinking about this recently. Let's say that you figure out what consciousness is, and the idea being that you found a pattern of what you are now, like that is what is being transferred. But nothing was said about memories. It's just, like, this is who you are, but you clearly saw that the entire memory and personality of the creator got moved into the robot. Surely what should have happened is just the type of person he is got moved in, but no memories.
Yeah, that would have to need a firmware update for the memories.
Yeah, I highly doubt that the robot shells that you move into have the memory capacity of a human brain, which I believe is several
trillion neurons that are firing. Yeah.
So I get kind of what they were trying to go for in the question of consciousness and all of that stuff, but going from an actual logistical standpoint, like it didn't work as well, I thought.
And then, I was willing to accept the ending once I saw where it was going with it, and even the ending they went with, I thought could have been better, or that side of, okay, you can move consciousness, but if we're going that way with it, I thought CHAPPiE sacrificing himself is much more of a bigger symbol about humanity, about learning what's more profound than a robot essentially realizing his importance and his maker's importance and putting someone else before himself. Yeah. That's humanity in a nutshell, treating others.
I was also thinking about it is, obviously, what they're fighting for is to save CHAPPiE, like save the AI that has grown into what it is. The core program would still exist. There's no reason that he couldn't do it again with a model that isn't broken, and couldn't do this in a more scientific environment. Obviously, now that he's proved that this can work, like add more safeguards, as it were, and then show the scientists that, look, this works. Let me show you again with this control subject or whatever. Like, a lot of these things, I guess, go from the higher up said no, but I'm going to do it anyway for science.
Science.
But I think if something like this were to actually happen, just because you work at one company that they said, well, we're not interested in this, that doesn't mean that there aren't several hundreds more places that would go, no, bring it. We will do this.
Absolutely, yeah.
I know that obviously there had to be a narrative of all of this stuff happening in this order, but even so, it's one of those things that I think the idea is what they were going for, whereas the actual fleshing out of the idea didn't quite work the way that a lot of people would have wanted.
No, certainly not the way I wanted.
Yeah, and my biggest gripe with the film definitely is that CHAPPiE as an AI should have continued growing at the rate that we saw him growing at, rather than grinding to a halt. Because I know, again, narrative dictates that things need to happen a certain way for the story to evolve, but he should have kept going. Like, I don't...
Well, yeah, once again, maybe we're arguing or saying the same thing in different ways, but for me, for a film called CHAPPiE, there was not a whole lot of CHAPPiE for me in this. And all the scenes that he was not involved in, I immediately lost interest in. And I would say, much like Mordecai, I'm sorry to compare any film to Mordecai. Apologies to CHAPPiE, because you don't deserve that. But Mordecai stands alone as a steaming dog pile.
Yeah.
But
on this one thing...
But in this one thing, I will say the action sequences were as boring as the action sequences in Mordecai for me.
Fair enough.
There was nothing there for me. I just waiting for the scene to be over.
Yeah. And another annoying thing they showed you what would have been the one interesting action bit in the trailer. So the rest is just, well, they're walking around looking at these places, and oh no, one of the bots got shot and that one turns into CHAPPiE. Like, well, that's just standard police work there. Like, nothing over the top's going on, and then you get
just a little RoboCop there.
And then you see the other scenes where there's a riot going on, but that's basically done exclusively in news footage.
I mean, the last sequence wasn't terrible, I should say, with the moose and CHAPPiE jumping on. So, I mean, that was kind of cool, but up until then, not a whole lot in there for me. And I actually hated the whole gangster world in this film. I could not stand Ninja. I mean, I know he's not supposed to be a likable character.
No, he is not.
But, I mean, come on. Like, okay, like, I just wanted him to die so much, and he did not die.
The one character that didn't really die. That
really deserved it. And I felt like there were... Go ahead.
In fact, actually, that would have been a lot better if he'd have died, and CHAPPiE put him in a robot body, so that he could learn through that.
Well, I think that's a little... too on the head of what District 9 did, though, is because with the Charlton Copley character becoming one of the aliens.
Yeah.
So I think he would. Yeah, I think he would have been criticized for that.
But he does it. It's like Dion becomes CHAPPiE, so it already happens. This would just be choosing the right person to have that.
But I'm saying it happened to the character in District 9 was very strongly against the alien integration, and so it's very much the same kind of situation happening, converting someone as opposed to...
So it would be too close.
Exactly, yeah. Show this guy what it's really like to live in their shoes. That District 9 did that.
Right.
I also wanted to say that I thought every time this movie had a chance at doing something very profound and heartwarming, it didn't let that scene develop and just copped out. Did you feel that at all? Like, Ninja would interrupt before something could really happen. I mean, there were a lot of great scenes, and Yolandi reading him the book, and just scenes that were very emotional, and a child learning about the world. And then I just felt like it always took the easy way out of those scenes.
Very much. They actually followed a trope at one point. This was something that I had written down, which was the whole thing of, here's what we didn't show you earlier. When it came to CHAPPiE was showing Yolanda, like, this is what this is, this shows you this, and then it cuts there. And then at the end of the film, it's like, oh yeah, we actually did continue that, and now we're going to show it to you now, so that the ending is plausible. It's like, surely you could have left that in. Maybe not go as far as him putting a USB drive into the thing and actually recording it, but like just having
plant a few more seeds for that, as opposed to just be so nice and neat.
So that you didn't have to have oh yeah, she can still live. Here's why. Now we're going to show it to you.
Yeah, because I know you're asking yourself, wait, she's already dead. You can't save her once she's dead. Yeah. Oh, wait. But wait, there's more.
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
I pity the next. Oh, dear. Yeah, well,
sorry, just all Futurama.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough. You got a sassy robot in here. Why not?
Tales of interest.
Now, I had to ask this because they made it very clear in the film that Hugh Jackman is a very religious character in this film.
He annoyed me almost as much as Ninja did in this film.
Really hitting the nail on the head with talking about, everyone's invited to church, like everyone come down, all of this stuff, and then the virus he has is called Genesis, so yeah, really going on there. And so the idea being that he crosses himself at one point, even though no other character makes any form of reference to it whatsoever, and he never comes out as stating this is my religion that I follow or anything, but he's clearly very religious, and then at no point do they ever bother actually having any sort of discussion about why he feels the way he does about AI. He just hates AI because his character needs to hate AI.
Yeah, his character was so one-dimensional antagonist.
Yeah, he was a former soldier who is also now a computer programmer.
There's a lot of those. Come on, Paul.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Almost all of them.
Yeah. Who is also a religious zealot that hates AI for reasons.
Or, I don't know, an AI killed his mother. Or he's still scarred from the film AI. Which a few of us are. Yes. Yeah, I like that reason the best. Well, just he really wanted... He's so pissed off Kubrick died and couldn't do AI himself.
Maybe his mother ran away with the director of AI. During the making of AI.
I don't. Maybe his mother had an affair with Isaac Asimov.
I think the timeline wouldn't quite work out.
Okay, whichever relative that would be. Okay.
With the grandson of Asimov. Yes. I think that could work.
Something along those lines. Asimov screwed his family over somehow.
But yeah, I do think that is one of the problems with this film, is that a lot of characters are, as you said, one-dimensional.
Well, and Sigourney Weaver, I'm sorry, it just needs to stop playing the meat old bitch. That's all she does. I'm gonna have it this way and burn that thing to ash. That was so overused in the trailer. It carried no weight in the movie.
Yeah.
Once it's and it's the same as she did in Cabin in the Woods as the director.
Yeah,
it's that same character over and over.
To a lesser extent, her and Avatar as well. I mean, obviously, she was more compassionate in that, but it was the same type of person, really. This is exactly how it needs to be, and no deviation. Blah blah blah. And I don't know if maybe she's really trying to get away from Ripley type thing.
You might want to try another genre then. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's not trying to get away with Ripley, because that's how that new Alien project happened. It was Blomkamp and her talking on set, and then him doing artwork on his Instagram account. But yeah. So I think she wants to play. Obviously wants to play that character again.
Maybe playing the character in this film.
But I mean,
she was like, I wanted.
You didn't need Sigourney Weaver. You didn't need Hugh Jackman to do these roles.
No, it could have been anyone. Really, especially the Michelle Bradley. I think you could have got an unknown, and it would have been.
Yeah, it would have been a nice launching place for that actor.
Yeah,
to show their chops,
or not, depending on how it come out.
But I mean, at least it's exposure for another young actor, instead of seeing Sigourney Weaver play the same role that she's done in the last 5 movies.
Yeah. I mean that is the big issue, I think, with the filmmaking process is. The people that are in charge of the money will say, well, we want you to get this person because they can do it. We know they can do it. We don't want someone new. And then, obviously, I guess it'll be up to the actor to say yes or no. It could have been either a paycheck or they were interested in the idea and they said yes, I guess, maybe before it was fully fleshed out. I don't know.
I don't know. I just hate seeing actors just go into that Liam Neeson taken loop, I guess that is what I'm going to call it now.
Yes, but at least he's doing that on purpose. Like, he is well aware of what's going on there.
I think he just asks, do I get to hold a gun in this film? Okay, all right. Or on the poster. I'll do it.
I believe that's actually his...
I don't even need to see a script. I get to hold a gun in the poster.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do it.
Liam, we have a new film for you. Like, am I holding a gun?
Am I mad at the world?
Can I at least look pouty?
Have I been wronged in some way, and I will kill everyone on Earth to right that wrong? Okay. I'll do it. But, I mean, for me, while we're on this kind of topic, Jason Statham is one for me that, really became discovered from Snatch.
Oh, yeah. Really good at Snatch.
Yeah, and then just got typecast and is now the action hero.
Yeah,
I think that he showed so much more range in Snatch than what he's been afforded.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, hey, maybe he's happy doing that. I'm sure he's getting paid well. But...
That's the thing. I'm sure that he's happy doing it. Like, I've seen a bunch of behind the scenes of some of the films he's in. He clearly likes doing the actiony stuff. So maybe it'll be one of those things of in like 3 or 4 years' time, he'll start branching into more drama films.
Yeah, but I mean, he was so good at Snatch, and there was a lot of good stuff in there for him.
Yeah,
and he's just a little one-dimensional now. But I know. I just like to see people use their talents fully.
Yeah, you really want to see people branching out and trying stuff.
Right. One more. What's her name? Kate Hudson from Almost Famous. And then she just goes on to do 17 romantic comedies. Gets nominated for Golden Globes and Academy Awards, and then just Katherine Heigl's it up. I don't know. All right, back to CHAPPiE.
Yes.
Let's circle back.
Now, I have a question for you. Growing up where I did, and the accent's not really being that much of an issue for me, the subtitles... Every single time that the leader of the gangs talked, with the exception of one line that he actually spoke not in English, did you feel that you needed those subtitles?
No, not really.
Did you feel that Ninja would have done better with subtitles than that?
Yes. Or just translation sometimes. Yeah. Just like not actually what he's saying, but just in English. Just in King's English. What does this mean?
Yeah, a little thing on the side of the screen. This is what he's actually saying.
He's actually angry at the robot now, everyone. Okay, got it.
Yeah, because a whole bunch of stuff... it kept coming up subtitles like, I heard that, I know what he's saying, I got you. It's like, why are you doing that?
It's just distracting you then.
And then the one line that he says that isn't in English, 2 of the words in the 6-word sentence were in English.
Yeah.
So you could have got the idea, I think. I think if they'd have just got rid of those subtitles entirely, that would have worked just fine. Actually, I'd love to see if in England, South Africa and Europe, if the subtitles aren't there. I want to know if this was put in for an American audience, because I'm sure you'd have a lot of people sitting in the audience just going like, what the hell did he just say? Did anyone catch that? Because they're not used to those types of accents, so I kind of...
It just stank of something that was like, someone was overly concerned.
Yeah.
And, well, we better...
And then watching the film, you realise, no, they should have been more concerned about this guy.
Yeah.
I can't tell what this guy's saying most of the time.
I can't understand a word what he said. Very much agreed with that sentiment.
Now, when it came to the ending with the big robot being controlled by the human, basically the Robocop robot flying in and being the ultimate thing, the tank that can walk around on legs with nobody in it, so you're fine. And it's taken down by what I can only assume was a mortar to the face. Now, I'd have thought the armouring on that thing would be designed like a tank.
You would think, but an explosion on the outside of it, not even on the inside of it.
So very close to it.
So so you're going to burn the surface, right? But that explosion, that energy is going away from that structure, not into it, unless there's shrapnel. I don't know, a little bit.
As far as I know, the kind of mine type thing is it's a flat brick thing, whatever, and then the explosion will go in the forward direction of one side of this flat brick thing. And it appeared to be on the front, and so it would go at the robot. What was it attached by, again? Was it just stuck on it somehow? Because unless it's screwed into the robot, it's just going to go flying backwards when it goes off.
It must have have an adhesive pad on one side. I don't know. That we didn't see CHAPPiE remove before he jumped on there.
Yeah. I mean,
or he got the Craggle from the Lego movie.
Oh, yes.
Crazy,
yeah. Good old Craggle.
Why not?
I'd kind of love to see a Lego version of this thing.
But I would have liked to see a struggle from Hugh Jackman's side. Like, he's unable to operate because of some struggle from his end.
Yeah.
A little more. I know we've seen that in movies before, but that would have been a little more entertaining for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or, what would have been brilliant is if there were issues with his program. So, like, he's trying to sell this thing, the whole thing of, like, the problem is AI, and you find out that, like, actually half of the systems don't work properly. So he's having to deal with that, which could give them more time to deal with it. Like, something other than this thing is just here to kill everyone, and now we just need to stick a bit of explosive on the front.
Go boom, offline, problem solved.
And didn't it seem a little too easy for them to rip off one of the arms? Like, again, there's supposed to be this giant armored tank that can mow down everyone and, like, I would imagine, take a few hits from the enemy before going down. It's like,
he was getting hit with some sort of, like, grenade launcher or something of that sort.
But
bigger gun.
That's just poor shielding on the arms then. Like,
it was just a prototype, Paul.
Your two main weapons are a gigantic gun on one arm and a gigantic pincer saw thing on the other arm, and one grenade will just lose you that weapon. Like, okay.
Well, now he knows.
He does. Not that he, I think, will be in any position to be able to do that for the next several months.
No.
While he's in traction and recovery.
A little bit, yeah. Another thing that I wanted to bring up was the bloody CHAPPiE t-shirt. What the hell? Is CHAPPiE such an international success? You saw her wearing a CHAPPiE t-shirt, right, Yolandi? What the hell? They just make their own t-shirts and drugs?
Sure.
There's product placement for CHAPPiE in CHAPPiE.
Yeah.
That bothered me so much. Why is she wearing a CHAPPiE shirt? There's no good reason other than product placement.
To be fair, she's the one that gave him the name. So,
but it doesn't look homemade. It looks like it came off a printing press. It's not like duct tape letters or Sharpie.
Well, no, but the argument could be formed that CHAPPiE was a brand before, and the reason she's giving him that name is because...
That's a stretch. I think that's a stretch.
Well, yeah. But to be fair, most of this film is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I guess. Conceded.
And yeah, it's one of those things that I think that the director had a great idea, and then they just struggled with the finishing of the idea.
The script was so riddled with issues for me. And I know it was his script with another writer. I can't
with his wife.
No, is that who it was? Yeah.
And I believe they together wrote District 9 as well. So
Terry Thatchell.
Yeah.
Or Tatchell.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. But I don't know what iteration of what draft this was, but they weren't done yet. Because it was. It had the potential to be something very, very special, I thought, which was what initially attracted me to the trailer.
No, yeah. I mean, the whole AI conversation is fantastic and can really go anywhere.
They didn't really get into the meat and potatoes of that discussion in this film.
Nope, not at all. It was AI now exists. These people really wanted to keep going.
This group thinks AI is good. This guy thinks AI is bad. Let's let him fight.
Yes, basically. It was AI good, AI bad. Who will win? Let's find out. Like, it was basically an epic.
I mean, they touch on it, when CHAPPie's like, I don't want to die, but there was really no delving into that.
No, I mean, there was a test of a gaming engine that came out several years ago at this point. It's like a 7-minute long video of this I guess, android being put together, and this, I guess, one programmer is asking it questions, and she's giving the answer, asking questions, giving the answer. And as this keeps going, you realise that the program is actually sentient and giving answers to the questions that it couldn't possibly give the answers to. And then as the guy realises this, he kind of hits the button which starts the dismantling process until she screams out that she doesn't want to die. Yeah. And everything stops, and it becomes like, will this guy allow this AI to live, knowing that if the world finds out the AI will live, then that will cause huge problems and all that. Like, in that 7 minutes, it's a much better exploration of AI than this entire film.
Yeah.
Like, it was a fantastic thing that CHAPPiE could have been. Definitely could have been. There were so many points in it where a discussion about AI or a discussion about what makes consciousness could have fitted in, and they could have dumbed it down for Laban, because obviously the Ninja and Yolanda people aren't very well educated.
No, they are supposed to be the dumb audience.
so you could have had an explanation that made sense in universe that wouldn't just be, okay, this is how it works, now let's do it. So it could have done so much more to make interest in that field and actually make discussions happen. And instead it's only in the arguments that the film isn't making those discussions that's where the discussions are coming from. So yeah, it's a little sad, I think, that it definitely fell short.
And I've said in previous podcasts that Blomkamp was one of my stars to watch as far as directors go, and it's a little too soon to reverse my opinion on that. But I'm fearing he's heading the way of M. Night Shyamalan, where he was a one-hit wonder, and then he's trying to rewrite that song over and over.
Yeah, poor Night.
But just not getting it as good as he did the first time. Elysium definitely had issues, but I liked that film more than I liked CHAPPiE. District 9, I think, is one of the best sci-fi films that's ever been made.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Elysium, and although I mainly saw it as just kind of an action.
Jodie Foster, I could not get over her in that stupid accent that time. But yeah, I'm hoping the alien thing, unless he plans on setting that in South Africa, I'm sure he'll find a way.
They'll crash in South Africa.
Yeah, they'll crash in Joburg.
Johannesburg.
Yeah, I was just doing an abbreviation.
I know.
Yes, or Jayburg, whatever. Yeah. I didn't have the time to say Johannesburg, obviously. Now that we can go through all that.
I know.
But,
and I can't exactly edit it out.
I don't know. I want to see what he does with that, because it'll be a different departure for him.
Yeah, I think that will be the answer to your question. Then it's like how he takes that film will show.
Yeah, an established story.
Whether it's a one shot or whether it's like he does have the capability to do this stuff in other genres should he go for it. Because obviously at the moment he's sticking in what he knows. And this would be the Alien film would be the furthest.
I like him bringing up important issues. And
that needs to happen anyway.
Like District 9, of course, and an entire allegory about apartheid and how horrible that is, and very effectively used in the film. And this, another important question: what does it mean to be alive or conscious, or how do you define that?
And even the whole artificial intelligence thing as well. Like, should we go that route, and what would happen if that came out?
Yeah, I guess you could say we got an answer to one of those questions. So what would happen? His take. But yeah, like we've already said, just not gone into in any depth at all.
Shame.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to be making excuses. Maybe that's what he intended for us to have this discussion and not give us our sides of the argument through the movie.
I guess the only thing I will say is that since he did say that he was writing this as a trilogy, maybe the reason that it's just nowhere near what it could be is because we're envisioning it as a standalone film.
I think it will be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they did make a whole lot of Twilights, so I'm sure another Chappie is possible.
True, but I'm not sure there's enough of the geek equivalent of your teenage girls.
Mm-hmm. Are they ever going to finish all the Narnia movies, or do they scrap those?
I think at the very least
relegated to on demand.
At the very least,
I know they optioned all 7.
The ones that they were going with, I think they're done because the actors in it are now way too old and they'd have to completely recast, and B, because I don't think that there was that much of a draw for it.
No, it was like 20 years past when anyone stopped caring about the story, and when they had to read it in school. And
personally, I think they should just do The Magician's Nephew. Like, that can be standalone. It's like 100 years before Narnia. So.
Yeah, so you don't even need any of the same people.
Exactly.
Yeah, well.
I think that's probably enough talking about other franchises.
Well, that shows you, kind of my overall feelings on the film is that I want to keep going off on tangents.
Yeah,
and not talk.
The big problem overall, I guess, is that the substance wasn't there.
No.
The ideas were, but
I wanted
substance.
it to be so much more than it was. I was let down, definitely.
Yeah.
Just like I said, just every time something meaningful looked like it could happen, it didn't. Yeah. It was like really close, like you have that thought in your head, and then you just can't express it.
Yeah, it's like you get there, like, no, Ninja, go away.
Yeah. Oh wait, Ninja's gonna interrupt this really, like, you have 20 seconds of a touching scene, and then Ninja's gonna come in and start being an idiot and pointing a gun at him again, and yeah. And Chappie's whole like sniffing thing really got old. I don't know what you thought, like his little acting, like, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, it was annoying, but I understood why they did it. Because obviously it was a learned behavior.
Not as annoying as the mustache and Mordecai, but to bring in Mordecai again. Yes, have you noticed the mustache? Mustache. And it just should have been called Mustache, and all they should have said was Mustache the whole movie.
Mustache?
Just like Malkovich, but Mustache. That would have been a better movie, I think.
That would have been interesting.
Mustache. Well, it's not like we'd be missing out on a whole lot of that script. I don't know.
I just had one more thought as well. Like, at the very end of the film, Yolanda is being put into a new body.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they find that? Like, if the whole thing of robots and AI is like, so far all that happens is there's these police robots, and that's about it. Where did they find this factory that's making human faces?
That could be a indeterminate time in the future too, since they have it. Because Chappie says something like, doesn't say something like, "Well, see you again," or "See you soon," or
yes, but they're just
the next place
burying
yet.
her.
Yeah,
though, they are the scene just before it cut to that. They are burying Yolanda. And then you see her coming back in the robot thing. So that would say to me that shortly after that, they brought it back.
I don't know. And also, there's another point I wanted to bring up. When they, what's his name, Dion, originally brought Chappie to their gangster lair, what sort of gangsters let that guy go? And on his word that he'll come back.
Yeah.
Hey, please, there's a really nice gangster lair over here. Maybe you should check it out. Like, no, they're going to kill him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously the argument there is Yolanda is against killing him, and
or that he doesn't want to be discovered for stealing from work, essentially.
Hey, there's these gangsters over here with a robot.
But
don't
ignore all these robot parts in my van. It's unrelated.
Yeah. On top of the fact that this company is the only place that makes all of these robots, right?
So far as we know, yeah.
Right. And we saw that there is some sort of surveillance system, right?
Yes.
But no one's watching it. It just is there. The only time it ever comes into play is Vincent sees Dion on the camera, which leads him to go, "Oh, that's where he is. I'm gonna I'm going to follow him now. Like, there was apparently no security guard ever watching these things. He's never caught moving any of this equipment anywhere.
It's very easy to, yeah.
It was astoundingly easy to take the key and not give it back for, what was it, 2 days before they said, hey, we need the key?
Yeah, no check in, check out, yeah. No search or metal detection or anything. Yeah. Very lax security at Televar or Trevlo, whatever they called it. Place, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a little too much to buy with that.
Yeah. Alright, how about we get into ratings?
Into ratings. Whose turn is it? That do you?
It's probably me, I'll say.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Alright, so as we said, like, our real issues with the film are offering ideas but not giving you enough with those ideas to really fully form an answer to any of the questions. And I don't think I can't really fault the acting in them, like, even though it was some people doing roles that they've already done, so obviously that they know the roles, and then it was new people, as far as we know, like relatively new people, at least over here, and they were doing roles that, you know,
well, I thought Charlton Copley did a very nice Andy Serkis. You know, if you want to call that, you know, that's got Andy Serkis's gig, but I mean, CHAPPiE was definitely a very captivating character.
Yeah, and given, I would imagine, like, he's only working with the script, he did very well with all of the beats that he had to hit as well. And also, I had to say, some of the best graphics use, I think. Like, there was hardly any point, with the exception of, like, maybe one or two shots, where CHAPPiE didn't look like he was definitely there, and I had trouble trying to figure out, did they just, like, motion cap and then insert later, or was there someone on set and then put them over later, or was it nothing at all? Like, I couldn't tell, and all of the other robots moving around, like, it was like really good graphics, done really well, I think. So
I thought CHAPPiE looked amazing, especially, I mean, the practical CHAPPiE that they must have had for the close-up shots. I mean, I thought he looked great.
Yeah, and especially the shot of him, and you saw it in every trailer, you know, having the bottle, the Molotov cocktail thrown at him and exploding over him, like, you know, fantastically done. So,
yes, there were good things.
Yeah, there were good things about the show, but yeah, just the
where does that land you?
Just the shallowness of the film, I think, really got to me. So I'm going to say that it's probably a minus. I'm going to say -4 overall.
Okay.
Yeah, not terrible, but just didn't really capture my interest, and I probably won't see it again, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot for me to gain out of a rewatch. Maybe certain scenes, but why bother with that? Then you might as well watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, yeah, very one-dimensional characters from the main, or the biggest stars of the film, at least for Americans, or for, you know, for obviously South Africa. I'm sure they're really excited about the Ninja and Yolandi characters.
Yeah, and they weren't bad at all.
I thought they did an okay job.
Yeah.
CHAPPiE was also obviously the best part of this movie. Go figure, it's called CHAPPiE.
Right.
But like I said,
yeah, it wasn't called Ninja.
No, thank God. No, that'll be the next one, right?
Yeah, it'll be CHAPPiE Ninja
or Ninja CHAPPiE. I'll be down for Ninja CHAPPiE.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, just not enough CHAPPiE, and like I said, just dipping the toes in the water of that discussion, not plunging in.
Yeah,
like it could have, and it didn't need to. You didn't need all of those action sequences. You could have had interesting dialogue.
Yeah.
It wouldn't slow it down. If the writing is on, the writing's on. It doesn't matter what the scene is. Like, if it's a good discussion, a good meaty discussion, I'm all for a 6-minute scene of them discussing what does it mean to be alive. You know?
Yeah. And especially, I think that having Dion and Yolanda have a real discussion about that with, like, say Chappie written in the background doing stuff like that. That would have been entertaining and
or him
interesting.
Chappie overhearing a discussion of, I think he's live, I think he's not, or it doesn't matter, he's just electricity, or or just electricity. Hey, have that discussion.
Exactly.
But yeah, for me, just copped out at every opportune time to do something special, which, like I said, really let me down. I think Blomkamp has more to offer, I'm hoping. And also, I don't know. We maybe don't know the full story of.
Nope. Yeah.
Hopefully, this wasn't. I'm hoping this isn't the film that he 100% wanted to make. No director, I think, gets 100% of the movie they want to make, but
not at first.
No. But I'm hoping this wasn't like 90% of. I'm hoping this is about 70% of what he wanted.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all of these reviews and everything we do, there has to be a grain of salt in there because we are not the people in charge of the studios.
In the inner circle. Yeah, we're not seeing the notes. We are not giving the note. Well, we're giving notes now that it's too late.
Yeah.
But
hey, buddy, maybe you should do this next time.
Yeah. Could you just pull it out of theaters and remake it? Okay. So for me, I was going between two different ratings. I was going to say -4. I think it's -4.5 for me.
All right.
I don't know. I just was ready for the movie to be over about an hour in. I knew. I mean, I kind of knew what was going to happen, where it was, where things were leading, of course. And then, like I did say, the ending did save some of it for me, but could have been so much more.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think they took the path of least resistance.
Oh, and I think
the one with the prettier bow on it.
And I think what you said is the key as well. Like, the ending saved it. Like, it shouldn't have needed saving with a topic like this. It should have kept going on its own. But
the rest of the film should have stood as enough, whether they pooched the ending or not.
No.
Yeah. So -4.5 for me. I did want to ask one question. What this not to steal completely a concept of another podcast that we love, but what would be your favorite AI film then?
My favorite artificial intelligence film. Interesting. Now, most people are probably going to go, what the hell, when they hear this. But I think this is actually the film that delved into it the most and did it best. Bicentennial Man.
Okay.
I mean, the film itself is about a robot that started out as a robot and over time develops to and then starts to become human. Like, the idea being that he is, for all intents and purposes, human, but it's his journey turning into that. Like, so I think that showed some of the best progression of artificial intelligence that so far I've seen. So for me, that. What about you?
It's got to be Blade Runner for me.
All right.
I know that's kind of mixing a little bit because they're replicants. They're not, original.
And then also you've got the idea. I believe the director's cut follows the idea that Decker himself is a replicant.
Well, of course he's a replicant.
So,
Decker is a replicant. He is. Okay?
So,
and no voiceover. Voiceover is not the way to go, people, to watch Blade Runner.
So, yeah, obviously, you've got...
Serious answer. Okay, and then other half of that answer. Okay, so that's the serious answer. Short Circuit, the original.
Johnny 5.
Johnny. Need input. Oh, you know what would have been great if Chappie had done the Turing test. If someone had given him the Turing test.
Yeah. Although, I'm not sure how they would have managed that. I'm just going to take you to this building for 10 minutes of screen time while we find a random person that has no idea who you are.
Yes. Now decide. Just something. Hey, I would have enjoyed it.
No,
that's all I'm saying. All right. Well, I'm chapped out.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yes. I'm all chappied out, chap.
Well, chaps, I think that'll be it for me.
That's it for me.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.